So earlier today, I got to see the movie Ma, starring Octavia Spencer. This was a movie that's trailer played before like every fucking movie I saw for months, and I closed my eyes and kind of hummed to myself or kept myself preoccupied enough to ignore what was going up on the screen after about 20 or 30 seconds in because I felt like I had already seen too much, and from what I've heard from people, it gives everything away and oh, there's these twists and all this stuff. So I didn't really know a ton about it going in, except for the very basic premise, which is that there are these young high school kids and they are trying to buy booze. And they ask a bunch of people, no one will buy it for them. And Octavia Spencer's character, who later in the film is referred to as Ma, she buys them booze and talks them into coming over to her house and having her house be the party house for all the cool kids to come over to, so they don't have to drink out in public anymore, getting caught, getting arrested, whatnot. And as the film progresses, of course, Ma is not right in the head, and we get to kind of look at her past and see why those things came to be. I really wanted to like this movie a lot more than I did. Now, I will say this up front. Octavia Spencer is fantastic in the movie. She is perfectly casted. The way that she plays this role in every way, because she gets to kind of be funny, she gets to be really dark at times with her performance, not so much the movie itself. Because the problem, one of the big problems I had with this movie is I felt like every time they set up something to go in a really messed up direction, they just didn't. It was like, oh man, this is gonna get fucked up. And it just doesn't. It's like, it goes, you think like, oh, it's getting, they're gonna fucking turn it up, like full blast. And it's like, meh, like half volume. And you're like, oh, okay. Also in this movie is Juliette Lewis, who's a big fucking favorite of mine back in the day, especially with like Natural Born Killers and The Other Sister, which, oh man, I love that movie, with Giovanni Ribisi. If you haven't seen that movie, if you can sit through that movie without crying, you have no soul or heart. We also have Luke Evans in here as a big Middle Earth freak. Bard the Bowman's always going to make a big splash for me, but he also was in a movie called No One Lives, right? That's what that movie's called. It's a really cool horror flick from a few years back. I definitely recommend that one. We also have Allison Janney in here, who plays like such a fucking throwaway character. For an actress I really enjoy and has had a lot of good roles, it was like, oh, she's in here for like 2 seconds as a throwaway character that could have had so much more to her. But yeah, she's just kind of like, okay, and we're done with you. And some other familiar faces as well. The main actress here, I remember her from Glass. She didn't have a big part, and I saw that she was gonna be in that Booksmart movie, but I don't really know her. I thought she was good. I think the movie, all the acting is good. Okay, so everyone in the movie is fine, is like really good. So I'll give all the credit where the credit's due. I feel like it's a very competently made film. It's really well shot. It's good looking. It's a Blumhouse production, so the production value is high. The director, Tate Taylor, he did The Help, which obviously freaking Octavia Spencer and Allison Janney were both in as together. That's where she won her damn Oscar. And he also did The Girl on the Train, which I never saw, but I know a lot of people hated on that movie, so it's probably why I didn't see it. It was such a disappointing film because I felt like, A, we've seen it all before, and B, I hate to be repetitive here, but it was just like every single time I was like, why are you setting these things up to not capitalize them? And here's another huge issue that I had with this movie. There are so many times in this movie where the characters would be out and it just doesn't happen. They have like plot conveniences where it's like, okay, we're just gonna keep them in and keep going to Maz, even though she's already done stuff that's like no fucking kid would put up with, and they'd be out. And it's just, I have a hard time looking past things like that because for me, that's just lazy writing. That's that whole notion that horror movies are meant to have dumb characters, that us as audiences are just supposed to accept that horror movies aren't allowed to have smart characters because smart characters, the movie would be over in 5 seconds. And I say bullshit to that. It's the exact fucking opposite. It's the writers that are fucking dumb. Okay, the writers need to be smarter. Then the characters can be as smart as they want and they can write their villains. I know I've said this on my channel a lot, so I apologize for anyone who's heard me make this argument before, but this is yet another fucking example of a movie like that where it's like the writers need to craft a smarter villain, smarter events, things that lead them back in no matter how hard they try to get away. So yeah, you'll be sitting here going, why would they continue? Why would anyone go? Why? Like, there's too many. It goes too much, too quick in certain directions, and you're like, there's no way these characters would be a part of this anymore. As far as the twists go, I saw online from people that I know that they were like, oh, you know, avoid the trailers. You don't want to get at the twists and all, you know, it's really twisty. And I watched a couple reviews where they were like, oh, you know, it went this way and that way. Really? For what? I don't know exactly what was all that twisty and turny here. There was like one twist in this of sorts, but it was nothing I haven't seen before, and it reminded me of something very recent that I watched, but I can't say what that is, or it would immediately give it away. It's just, For me, this movie was a big meh. It was kind of like, it's set up, great performance by Octavia Spencer. So I do want to give her a mass amount of credit because I think she absolutely nailed this role. And because she's the titular character, that this is Ma, this is her movie, I think she nailed that. So she earned her paycheck, as did anyone working behind the camera or in front of it. They all do fine jobs. It's the writing. The writing here is lazy. You set things up that you don't capitalize on, and you make dumb character decisions right and left. Unforgivable shit to me. And if you're gonna make the theater, if you're gonna have a Blumhouse production, if you're gonna make a big budget thing like this, you're gonna have Octavia Spencer, you're gonna have fucking Luke Evans, you're gonna have, you know, all these other people, Juliette Lewis and whatnot, in your movie, then maybe take another month or two or so and do a couple more rewrites, because this fine setup. I mean, we've seen something like this. Kind of reminds me of the movie Greta that I watched not too long ago. An older lady who is being a creeper on a younger person. I definitely favor Greta over this. I wasn't a huge fan of Greta, but I did like it more than I liked this. This is not something I would recommend going to the theater to see. I also heard from some people that there was like scenes that were gonna make people like, oh my God, cringy and all this. No. Yeah, no. I thought they were gonna go in places like that, and it was like, oh shit, here we go. And I don't know, maybe for like a mainstream audience that isn't used to seeing anything, maybe they don't go to any horror movies, there would be moments that would be cringy in the sense of like, oh my God, I think this is gonna happen. But it doesn't, so what's the fucking big deal? I don't know, this movie annoyed me, and I'm not a fan. So Godzilla and Ma, both no-goes for me. I should have went and saw Rocket Man, because it's gonna be the best of the three, I guarantee it. Damn! I just, you know, those are the two horror-based films, and I wanted to do it for the channel, but I should have just went to Rocket Man. I had big high hopes for both of these, and not a fan. So let me know what you guys think if you see it or if you saw it. And as always, consider checking out my Patreon so that I can continue to have a reason to do this, because I love doing this shit and I love you guys. And see you next time. Adios.